Here, I think you've touched on the essential point, said Kay. That's it. After all you've told me, I believe I can see the matter clearly. Barnabas is too young for this task. Nothing he tells you is to be taken seriously at its face value. Since he's beside himself with fright up there, he's incapable of observing. And when you force him to give an account of what he's seen, you get simply confused fabrications. That doesn't surprise me. Fear of the authorities is born in you here and is further suggested to you all your lives in the most various ways and from every side. And you yourselves help to strengthen it as much as possible. Still, I have no fundamental objection to that. If an authority is good, why should it not be feared? Only one shouldn't suddenly send an inexperienced youngster like Barnabas, who has never been further than this village, into the castle, and then expect a truthful account of everything from him, and interpret each single word of it as if it were a revelation, and base one's own life's happiness on the interpretation. Nothing could be more mistaken. I admit that I have let him mislead me in exactly the same way, and have set hopes upon him and suffered disappointments through him, both based simply on his own words, that is to say, with almost no basis. Olga went silent. It won't be easy for me, went on Kay, to talk you out of your confidence in your brother, for I see how you love him and how much you expect from him. But I must do it, if only for the sake of that very love and expectation. For let me point out that there's always something, I don't know what it is, that hinders you from seeing clearly how much Barnabas has, I'll say, achieved, but has had bestowed on him. He's permitted to go into the bureau, or, if you prefer, into an antechamber. Well, let it be an antechamber. It has doors that lead on further, barriers which can be passed if one has the courage. To me, for instance, even this antechamber is utterly inaccessible, for the present at least. Who it is that Barnabas speaks to there, I have no idea. Perhaps the clerk is the lowest in the whole staff. But even if he is the lowest, he can put one in touch with the next man above him. And if he can't do that, he can at least give the other's name. And if he can't even do that, he can refer to somebody who can give the name. This so-called clan may not have the smallest trait in common with the real one. The resemblance may not exist except in the eyes of Barnabas, half blinded by fear. He may be the meanest of the officials. He may not even be an official at all. But all the same, he has work of some kind to perform at the desk. He reads something or other in his great book. He whispers something to the clerk. He thinks something when his eyes fall on Barnabas once in a while. And even if that isn't true, and he and his acts have no significance whatsoever, he has at least been set there by somebody for some purpose. All that simply means that something is there, something which Barnabas has the chance of using, something or other at the very least, and that it is Barnabas's own fault if he can't get any further than doubt and anxiety and despair. And that's only on the most unfavorable interpretation of things, which is extremely improbable. For we have the actual letters, which I certainly set no great store on, but more than on what Barnabas says. Let them be worthless old letters, fished at random from a pile of other such worthless old letters, at random and with no more discrimination than the lovebirds show in the fairs when they pick one's fortune out of a pile. Let them be all that. Still, they may have some bearing on my fate. They're evidently meant for me, although perhaps not for my good. And, as the superintendent and his wife have testified, they are written in Clam's own hand. And, again on the superintendent's evidence, they have a significance which is only private and obscure. It is true, but still great. Did the superintendent say that? Asked Olga. Yes, he did, replied Kay. I must tell Barnabas that, said Olga quickly. That will encourage him greatly. But he doesn't need encouragement, said Kay. To encourage him amounts to telling him that he's right, that he has only to go on as he is doing now. But that is just the way he will never achieve anything by. If a man has his eyes bound, you can encourage him as much as you like to stare through the bandage, but he'll never see anything. He'll be able to see only when the bandage is removed. It's help Barnabas needs, not encouragement. Only think, up there you have all the inextricable complications of a great authority. I imagine that I had an approximate conception of its nature before I came here. How childish my ideas were. Up there, then, you have the authorities, and over against them Barnabas. Nobody more. Only Barnabas, pathetically alone, where it would be enough honor for him to spend his whole life cowering in a dark and forgotten corner of some bureau. Don't imagine, Kay, that we underestimate the difficulties Barnabas has to face, said Olga. We have reverence enough for the authorities. You said so yourself. But it's a mistaken reverence, said Kay. A reverence in the wrong place, the kind of reverence that dishonors its object. Do you call it reverence that leads Barnabas to abuse the privilege of admission to that room by spending his time there doing nothing, or makes him, when he comes down again, belittle and despise the men before whom he has just been trembling, or allows him, because he's depressed or weary, to put off delivering letters and fail in executing commissions entrusted to him. That's far from being reverence. But I have a further reproach to make, Olga. I must blame you too. I can't exempt you. Although you fancy you have some reverence for the authorities, you sent Barnabas into the castle in all his youth and weakness and forlornness. Or at least you didn't dissuade him from going.